Hi, MInesh Baxi here, and I'm really excited because I have a friend that I've known for a long time, except we have not been in touch much, and he has been able to help a lot of people, companies, etc. And I want him to share some of the things that he has been doing, and obviously, as an entrepreneur, how you can benefit from his knowledge as well. So welcome, Jay Johnson.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, MInesh.
Yeah, I know you had a busy day today, haven't you?
I have. It's been quite the day.
Yeah, you already did some training, right?
Yep.
You are here, and then you're going to be doing some more training.
Yeah, I started this morning with a 5-hour leadership development for a couple of organizations all across the country. So we did some Zoom meetings, and then this evening I'm doing another leadership training for another organization that's trying to get ready for the new year.
Wow, man. Obviously, things are happening for you. So let people know a little bit about your background. Where were you born? How did you get started? Just a little bit about that.
Sure. So I was born here in Michigan.
Oh, great.
Grew up in Redford Township, went to Thurston High School, and then went to Wayne State University for my college degree. Started my first business in 2008 called WorldLink Communications. That was where we got to meet at the Downtown Networking Group. And in 2015, I actually worked with the people that had helped me build WorldLink Communications, and we reformalized it into Coeus Creative Group, and that's who we are today.
Wow. It's called COEUS, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Fantastic. Now, what attracted you to being an entrepreneur? Because most people obviously don't choose to be an entrepreneur. Now, everybody, in my opinion, wants to be one somewhere deep inside their heart, but not everybody does. Tell me a little bit about what prompted you to do it. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Sure. I actually got started kind of strangely. I was, when I finished my degree, I was hired by the Industrial and Systems Engineering Department at Wayne State University, and I was their Strategic Communications Director. And we had an issue where we were having some international students that were struggling. On paper, they looked fantastic, but they were struggling to kind of acclimate to the American classroom. And I designed a training program to educate the faculty as well as the international students. It was very successful, and the students started to perform much better. And a faculty member came over and said, you ought to do this professionally. I was like, maybe I will. So that's really kind of how I got started. And I was very fortunate to get a couple of really nice contracts in the beginning. I was working with the University of Michigan Health Systems, helping physicians improve their body language and nurses make better connections and to get past some of the cultural adaptability issues that you would find in healthcare. I'd worked with a couple of professional athletes and helping them in their media presence and being able to communicate. So that was really how it got started. I fell in love with it. And the reason I continued to be an entrepreneur was the freedom, the challenge, the new experiences every single day. You never know what you're going to have. This morning I'm working on leadership with one organization, and this afternoon I'm doing the exact same leadership, but it's a completely different organization, and it completely changes the nature of the discussion.
Wow.
So it's a lot
That
of
is
fun.
amazing. I can see the smile on your face. Obviously, you have passion for what you do.
Very much.
And here's the part. If you enjoy what you do and it impacts people's lives in a positive way, and obviously it is profitable, why not?
Exactly. It's one of those where I never feel like, I've been asked, you work a lot, don't you? I said, no, I don't work at all. I don't know if they like that answer, but I spend a lot of time on what I'm doing, but I really enjoy it. It's truly a
It's
passion.
interesting you should say that. I was at Kroger the other day, and I think it was Christmas Eve or something like that. And then I was just walking by. I heard a couple of people talk, and one person was leaving for the day. I'm sure his shift was over, and he was looking forward to going for Christmas. And the phrase he said, which I remember hearing and maybe saying that to people as well, but I can't relate to anymore, is like, take it easy, don't work too hard.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that so many times.
Exactly. And I'm like, I don't even think about that as an entrepreneur.
What does that mean? Yeah. What does don't work too hard mean? Does that mean, there's a lot
I mean,
that
if
can
it's
go
a
on in that
Saturday or
sentence.
Sunday, I'm still up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing something I like to do. And people have that concept of work. But the whole idea is if you are creating something you enjoy, if you are helping other people, it's something which is like innate, passionate for you, why won't you keep doing more of that till the end of, like I'm 57. I know you're much younger. I plan to be doing this till I'm another 20 years or at last, as long as my body is able to function very well. And I think more and more people need to think of their career in that perspective because retiring at 50, 60, 70, it's like doesn't really make sense anymore.
I look at it and say that I will do this until the day that I no longer feel the exact same enjoyment that I do this day.
That's a good way to put it.
And that's the time that I need to hang them up. And quite frankly, I don't see that coming anytime soon.
No, especially if you're connecting with people, which is really what your job is, to teach people to connect with people, and you're enjoying it. I think you'll be doing it for a while. I can tell that already. So tell us a little bit about, I see you have a couple of things that you can show me here. So do you want to just pick that up and show it to people?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, which way? Here we go.
Here you are.
I'll show you this way. This is our Behavioral Elements program. So what we focus on at COES Creative Group is helping people to understand human behavior. So I studied communications, and when I finished studying communications, I realized I still didn't quite understand why some people did some things, or why other people did other things, or why this leader was successful and why this leader wasn't successful. So I went back and I started to look into psychology and into neuroscience. And we're sort of redefining a space called behavioral intelligence. Everybody's heard of emotional intelligence, which is critically important.
Yes.
But there's also a disconnect between emotions and behavior. I might feel something, but that doesn't mean I have to act on that something. So we're trying to carve this out as a space to say, if we can teach leaders how to effectively behave, our true passion and our belief is all of your success or failure is rooted in how you behave.
Correct.
And that's in your profession, that's in your personal life, that's anywhere. So we want to help people to understand, why do they behave in the way that they do? So we help them to explain it, and we help them to predict how they're going to behave in the future and how other people are going to behave in the future. And then we help them to either influence in a positive and ethical way, to influence other people, so how to build influence within themselves, but then finally to control their own behavior. So how do I stop myself from putting my foot in my mouth when I'm really angry and dealing with somebody challenging?
And I do that all the time. I'm sorry, Jay.
So this is our behavioral elements profile, and we've designed this.
Let me see that
sure,
here.
Please open it
so
up.
that looks really good.
So this
so
is
people can see that.
Yeah. What it is it's a behavioral assessment, but it's different than a personality assessment per se, because what we do with this is we understand that no matter what, you can behave in different ways in all different facets of your life. The way you behave at work may be different than the way that you behave at home, but oftentimes we have a preference, and those preference we've correlated into 4 different areas: fire, air, earth, and water.
So air, fire, and you have earth, and obviously water.
And water. So we do assessment, and we do it in a fun way. So if we're working with an organization, everybody takes a couple of cards. You'd have a couple, I'd have a couple. You'd look at them and say, all right, discovering new technologies. That one's very much like me. I'm going to hold that card. These cards are not so much like me. Which of these, are any of these like you? And we're going to trade until people have a couple of cards that they really like.
So these are not only just behaviorally speaking, but they are actually business oriented as well. Like in my case, coaching people is pretty much down the road for me, right? Okay, promoting teamwork and collaboration. You and I are on similar page as well. Optimizing existing procedures. So I see a few of these that I can easily see would be applying to me, but obviously, like you said, there are some which would be not as applicable to me. Then I exchange with the other person. So one person eventually, or the people eventually end up with more collection of the similar ones that they like, and then you can kind of predict their profile.
Exactly. So then once we've established, you know, whether your preferred style is going to be earth, air, fire, or water, we then do a little debrief session and learn a little bit about each of the different styles, what they prefer, how they communicate, how they manage conflict, what their leadership is, how they make decisions. So, for example, our fire type they're our drivers. They're the people that want to, you know, score the most points. They want to win the game. They're going to defeat all challenges. So when we're communicating with a fire person, we want to be a little bit quicker. We want to be straight to the point. There may not be as much chit-chat versus, you know, the opposite sign, the water sign. Which is more of our collaborative, our people, the people that want to make sure that everyone's empowered and they're coached, and they're going to focus on the people while the other is going to focus on results. So we go through this whole process and learn it, and these are our planners. So we actually design these out. These are designed, and they're all different. They're designed specifically. So if you are a fire person and you look at it, you see your biggest wins, your burning desire, your confidence level.
Very good point. I'm really intrigued, and the reason I'm saying that is today I was doing a Facebook Live, And because one of my friends is going to be teaching a time management course, and I realized that a lot of people don't take the behavioral profile of the person into account in time management.
Yes.
So how you define a win as a fire is not the same as a win for water. And in fact, I don't even know what you have there, but I see here it says today's mountain to climb. And let's say, what do you say here? Today's ocean to cross. Okay, so I see the language and so on and so forth, which makes sense because I'm a people person. So I can evaluate my day in a number of ways, but the one which I would prefer is how many connections did I form? How many relationships did I create?
See, you're definitely one of our water types. So one of the things that we do is in the waters, and we structure each of these different things. So the water is people who will help me accomplish my goals, and we create a little process map for the people that you want to connect with today. And today's progress, full or empty, where did we get, and filling up the cup and so on. So we've designed it and even structurally designed it. Our air is our creative type. It's much more open. So there's a lot of space to draw and write and so on and little prompts, whereas our earth is much more structured and processed. So we have process charts and flows that help people to plan and to be more productive based on their behavioral preference.
Interesting.
Now, we all have all of those.
I agree with
we
you.
want to win. Sometimes we want to be people. Sometimes we want to create. Sometimes we want to process. So we can really switch between them, but a lot of times we fall back to our normal preferences.
Very true, very true. I have a book called Stop Hiring Losers. And one of the reasons I talk about that is not necessarily loser, but if you're building a team of people, only certain people will fit a position.
Right.
Like if you are playing in basketball and you are 5'1", not likely to be a good team player for your, obviously winning championships. Whereas on the other side, if you are 7 feet tall and you are playing a sport which is really for fast people, you may not be the person they are looking for either.
Right.
So it's not about a loser from that sense of somebody who's a loser, but somebody who will not help your team win.
Right.
And you need the right people on the team to win.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest lessons is a high-performing and functioning team is going to be able to access all of the different styles, and they're going to have different people that think in different ways. So that way, the fire who's just going to try to win and burn bright, somebody on the earth side is going to say, okay, but how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to structure this? And, there can be points of conflict there, but there can be points of exceptional team performance from it as well.
Very interesting. I'm so glad you took the time to share with us today because that's very valuable. So tell us anything about projects coming up that you are excited about, maybe 2020, the next decade, or just something different.
So one of the things that we're really focusing on as we move forward is we've been doing a lot of training and talent development with different companies, organizations, pretty big ones. But one of the things that we've really wanted to tap into is the global market. So last year I spent about 100 days in Europe doing training and I think I was in 14 countries last year. So we're actually setting up a European division. One of the things that we're looking to do is certify trainers in this program so that way they can go out and deliver the program. It'll be a value add for them. It'll add something to their training arsenal, but hopefully giving them an opportunity to kind of spread that behavioral message that we believe, which is, the better people behave, the better they perform. The better they perform, the more profitable they are, the more prosperous they are.
And also it helps people connect better.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, if you and I can't get along, how can we perform as a team anyway?
Yeah.
And that's
and that's half of business, is being able to make those connections that are going to be able to help you out along down the road, and building that rapport and that connectivity, that social capital with each other is huge. And I think that's, a lot based in behavior for sure.
Good. Any fun fact about you that people would want to know or you would like to share?
While I'm not one of the earth signs, I am an avid gardener. I absolutely love gardening. I enjoy traveling, and I used to a long time ago. It was fun watching your last guest that was in here that was doing the karate, because I used to do karate and hockey and everything else, but I decided that once I became a professional speaker, I probably shouldn't be getting hit in the face anymore. So I've moved to gardening now. It's a lot safer.
Fantastic. Well, what a pleasure, Jay, for you to come over today, share with us a couple of things that obviously people can benefit from, because I think most people seem to have a sense that nobody's like me, and they're like on an island away from everybody. So I think the two challenges which most people I feel when I communicate about relationships as well is people don't get me and I'm very different. And the reality is we are really not that different on a larger scale. Yes, we are unique in our own abilities and strengths, but in general, we are very similar. Whether we are earth, fire, wind, water, and so on and so forth, we are still similar. And we all have the same challenges. And if I can know your aspirations and I can know your fears, it's very good likelihood I will know who you are.
Exactly.
And I think if we focus on these models, they tell what the fears of that person is, each profile, and also what their aspirations are and how they meet their aspirations. So thanks, Jay, for taking the time. Any last words of wisdom?
No, I want to say thank you so much for doing this. This is amazing. I've been watching these on LinkedIn for a while, and I really enjoy them, and it's wonderful to be here with you. So thank you.
Jay, thanks for taking the time. Folks, another great education for you. And obviously, if you are somebody who is interested in being on the show, please contact me. And if you have a good message for the people, you are able to share some of this valuable information, hey, you can have an opportunity as well. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.